What is up, wildlings? Colin here, the Wild CEO, back on the Ancestral Mind YouTube. I just changed the name to Ancestral Mind to match the podcast and the website, theancestralmind.com. You can learn more and listen to the podcast over there. Today's video are 3 fat loss mistakes, or 3 things that are holding you back from your fat loss goals, weight loss goals, etc. We're gonna get into really big ones. These are really big, very important. I'm gonna talk about what they are and some tips to mitigate them so you don't fall into these weight loss traps yourself. Let's get to it. One of the most common weight loss mistakes that most people don't think about and most experts aren't talking about, it is vitamin D deficiency. Now, we all live in a modern world, a modern environment where there's windows and maybe some sunlight comes in, but when our sunlight exposure is blocked by a window, we don't get the vitamin D production that we need. Going out and getting 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight a day is literally all you need, okay? And this is a result of our evolutionary past. Our ancestors were born outside, they lived outside, and even if they found a cave now and then again, they were outside every single day, hunting and foraging, looking for food, sitting by the campfire in their camp, wherever it happened to be. We are animals of the wild. We belong in the wild, yet now we live in modern environments. It's obvious that vitamin D deficiency is on the rise and has been on the rise since we became farmers and started living in dwellings for the majority of our lives. Now, there's other issues with light exposure, like getting too much blue light and get under LEDs and all the stress that you get from all the light pollution that there is, but that's not what I'm gonna get into today. The thing to fix this is to go outside every single day, ideally in the morning, right? That's when vitamin D production is really great, helps in a lot of processes in your body. So you wanna go out, it'll help you wake up. It just feels good when you get some sun exposure on your skin. If you can't do that, supplement with a vitamin D3 K2 supplement, ideally that has the K in it as well because it helps with absorption. We actually have that over at Wild Foods. You can use code WILDC over 12% off your entire order. But at the very least, for most of the time, you should try to get outside. Go outside, get some sunlight with as much open skin as possible. So you don't want to go fully covered up and get a little bit on your face. You want as much of your body as possible. Ideally, if we could all do it perfectly, we'd be naked. But if that's not really workable for you, go out with, in your boxers or your underwear, or at the very least with, a bathing suit on or something, okay? That's a really good way to wake up. It's a really good part of a morning routine, and I highly recommend it. When it gets warm again, I'm gonna be getting back to my morning routine and going out every single morning. There's plenty of research you can find on this. Vitamin D deficiency is linked to obesity. People that are obese usually have low vitamin D, and because vitamin D does so many important processes in your body, it is something that you can't be deficient in if you want to lose weight. The thing about losing weight and weight loss or fat loss in general is you have to really have all your ducks in a row. You have to have all the things in this video I'm talking about. You have to have your nutrition down, you have to have your training down, you have to mitigate your stress. This is one of those things you cannot ignore. Get a vitamin D supplement, at least as backup. Start getting outside and make it a point, maybe even to get your vitamin D levels tested. There's tests for this, or you can, your doctor can order tests for you. It's a very important part of weight loss that nobody's really talking about. So figure out how to work more daily sun exposure, direct sun exposure, not in the shade, direct sun on skin exposure into your everyday life, and watch as not only your weight loss or fat loss propels, but if you're trying to build muscle, that's gonna increase. If you're trying to reduce stress, maybe improve sleep at night, that's gonna increase. The thing about the human body is there's all of these variables that affect health, and we have to have a multi-pronged, fully holistic approach to be able to do that, right? We're a complex machine that has tons of inputs. You need water, you need sunlight, you need sleep, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to have purpose, you need to have relationships, you need to have sex. Literal sex. Having sex is important for health. I know I'm getting off topic. I know. Excuse me, perdón, which is like one of the first Spanish things I learned when I did Pimsleur Spanish, was perdón, señorita. Soy de Florida, Senor Stuckert. I think so. I am. It's been a while. I know. I need to get on Duolingo maybe. Vitamin D. It's a very important aspect of weight loss that nobody's talking about, and that's why I put it number 1. This is one of those things that is the bane of weight loss and fat loss. Snacking. Snacking. When you snack food, and again, let's go into the theory first, and then maybe some ways to improve this, like the 16-8 fasting protocol that I use. Why is snacking the bane of weight loss? I thought if you ate calories, you would stoke your metabolism and you want to eat 6 small meals a day. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is an archaic recommendation of the past that was based on faulty garbage research and was probably fueled by the food and supplement companies. I can't think of a better marketing pitch than to convince people that it's healthy for them to eat all the time, so they buy things like bars and gels and things they don't really need all the time. 6 times a day, that's even better. Why? This is insane. I can't even keep a straight face. Why be satisfied with 3 square meals a day when we can get the consumer to get 6? Literally crazy. Okay, why is snacking the bane of weight loss? Well, the basic theory of how the biology, the machinery of your body works, based on hundreds of thousands of years living in the wild before we even started farming, is this. When you eat food energy from calories, we all know food energy is calories. When we eat food energy, your body is signaled to store food energy. How the hell do you think we survive? If we didn't have mechanisms on our body to store calories for later, we would die if we weren't eating all the time, right? When you eat calories, your body is signaled to store calories. And there's all these complex processes like insulin and glucose levels and fat storage and adipose. And let's just talk about it. Snacking, okay? You don't want to snack. The theory is because you snack, your body signals to store calories for later. This is survival 101. This is biology 101. This is metabolism 101. Because then when you're not eating, your body is going to use that stored food energy to survive. I mean, even think about a tiger. Tigers successfully kill their prey 5% of the time. A tiger is only successful as a predator that eats other animals 5% of the time. It's estimated that maybe like once a week on average, a tiger will have a kill that's between like 40 and 60 pounds. The rest of the time, guess what that tiger is doing? It's not eating. So that tiger has mechanisms in place through programming from Mother Nature so that it just doesn't die if it goes a day without eating food, eating another animal. Humans are very similar. We have very carnivore tendencies. We are omnivores. We can survive on plants and animal products. But if you observe any modern day hunter-gatherer, they'll ask you, or tell you, I should say, that they pretty much eat plants when there's not real food available, and they refer to real food as animal products. It's just a reality. This is just the way it is, okay? I didn't write the rules. These are just the rules. This is just how it is. This is where we came from, etc. The opposite of snacking would be following something like a fasting protocol. Now, I have a bunch of other videos on fasting. I'll drop some below. You can probably even see them on the sidebar, or go to my channel. There's tons of videos that I've done on intermittent fasting, and of course, there's tons of videos on the internet. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so I would recommend you check out my videos. But the basic idea is you compress your feeding window every day, so the time of day that you have food, into something like 8 hours. I do a 16-8 feeding to fasting window. 16 hours of the day I'm fasting, and about 8 hours is when I'm eating. And I usually only eat 2 meals within that 8 hours. I'm not snacking while I'm in that feeding window, but for the most part, like, you can kind of do what you want. If you want to do 3 meals or like a snack here and there, that's fine, but just know that every time you eat, you're signaling your body to store fat. If you're trying to lose body fat or lose fat or even just lose weight, you want to avoid eating calories. You have to let your insulin come down, which when you eat calories, you spike insulin, right? And you spike blood glucose. You have to let that come down, or your body will literally refuse to burn fat off your frame. That's another thing. Having a little bit of insulin in your system will completely turn off fat loss. This is biology. This is just biology 101. It's crazy that somehow these food companies or nutrition experts convince people that eating a lot of meals was going to help them lose weight. It's so insane to me that people thought that, when we can just look at biology. We've known insulin was a thing. It was invented, I think it was in like the 20s or 30s where they figured it out, right? We know a lot of the hormonal machinery of the human body. Yet somehow the idea that if you eat often, you will burn fat took hold. It just goes to show you the power of marketing and the power of people trying to sound smart when they're not. When you want to lose body fat or lose weight, you need to have periods of time where you aren't eating. And the 16-8 is great because it shows that a lot of the benefit you get from not just fat loss or weight loss, but also just recycling old cells, autophagy, that's known as, which is really good for longevity. You get it into that kind of like 12 to 16 hour window in some of the research we have. If you think about it, if you go 16 hours or even a whole day or whatever, and you haven't eaten any food, well, what is your body gonna do so that it doesn't just keel over and die? It's gonna create energy by taking body fat, converting into something we can use, known as ketone bodies, also known as ketosis, which you've probably heard of, And then your body's gonna use that energy for fuel instead of energy that we eat. Like, this is Fat Loss 101. This is literally the basics, okay? So if you, again, to keep this video short, sweet, and to the point, if you eat food, you prevent fat gain, at least at that moment, right? And then usually for a couple hours after. When you go periods of time without food, and the longer you go, the more opportunity you have to get into something called ketosis, which is basically fat burning, and the more opportunity that you have for your body to say, okay, I need energy, so let me go get it stored somewhere on my body. I mean, what more do I need to say about this? There is so much dogma, there is so much confusion, and there is so much bad information on these topics. It's insane. It really is insane. Let's get to number 3. So lack of sleep is connected and associated with a lot of chronic illness. There's a lot of research on this, so go to Google if you're interested, but it's probably something you know. Sleep is also connected to lack of results and plateaus, whether that is fat loss or weight loss or performance or even mental blocks. Your brain just doesn't function the right way. Sleep is how your body rests and recovers. It is one of the most important aspects of health and longevity. You need to get your sleep right. And a lot of people, even if you're one of those people that can kind of fall asleep okay, maybe you can stay asleep for a good amount of time, there's probably things you can do to make your sleep better. Maybe you're not getting enough REM sleep. Maybe you have too much blue light exposure and so it's messing up things. Maybe you sleep with lights on, which is really, really bad because really humans need to sleep in near pitch black. There's a lot of things you can do. And so everyone can benefit from spending a little bit of time to think about their sleep routine and ways to improve it. I'm gonna go through a very short list of how to improve sleep. This video is not really gonna spend a lot of time on like why you should want to improve your sleep. I think most of you don't like feeling tired during the day. I think most of you like to mitigate your stress. I think most of you like to recover more and get stronger, fitter, lose fat or whatever. And sleep is the cornerstone to doing all of those things. It literally does everything. And when your sleep is not good, you have problems everywhere in every department. All right, so obviously you want to try to match your sleep pattern to the sun going down and coming up. There's something you've probably heard of called circadian rhythm. There's some iffy research on this, there's some good research on it. I think it is ancestrally appropriate to probably sleep when the sun is down and wake when it isn't, because that's what our ancestors would have done at night. But once we started controlling fire, there were people that would have been up at different times. I don't think you have to buy into the dogma and feel bad about it if you tend to be a little bit more of a night owl, which is like me. I've been trying to sleep more and wake up earlier lately, and it's been good, especially since having my son Daro, but I still find at times that I want to kind of stay up at night. It's just natural. And I don't have a big negative thought pattern about it. And I think that would just cause me stress if I obsess about it too much. I kind of let my body do what it needs to do. That being said, I try to sleep in a pitch dark room. I also use sound machines so that I'm not disturbed too much, so that if I'm sleeping in and people in the house that I live with aren't making too much noise, right? So a sound machine is one of the best investments I've ever made for my sleep. I don't travel anywhere without it. In fact, anytime I travel and I forget my sound machine, I literally Amazon Prime one to get it immediately, because that's how important it is for sleep. It's amazing for travel. I would highly recommend throwing 1 or 3 in your suitcase. Sometimes I take 3 with me, literally. Pitch black room is the other really big thing that a lot of people don't think about. So get some blackout curtains, even consider maybe tacking things to cover up your windows. You could even use tinfoil. That is one of the huge sleep hacks that will help you get deeper sleep. It will help you stay asleep longer. It will help you sleep in on the weekends. Maybe need to catch up on some sleep debt. It is a freaking game changer, all right? If there's 2 things you did from today, it would be make your room as dark as possible and get a sound machine. It could probably change your life. And if you struggle with sleep, I know for sure it's gonna change your life for the better. Now, the couple other things that I've done to improve my sleep that are huge include installing the app F.Lux. I'm on a Mac. I believe they have it for Windows too. They do. Lower your blue light exposure at night. I basically bring it down to like 2900K, which is almost like no blue light. It's a little bit of an orange hue. And I keep that active all the time. And that reduces the blue light from the screen that's hitting your face and eyeballs, which can mess up your hormones and really affect sleep for the worse, right? I also noticed correlation to when I installed these orange bulbs and I got rid of, so this is kind of an orange hue, but if you have bulbs that are really bright light, or if you have even worse LEDs, do not use those at night. Get an orange hue bulb and use that at night, maybe even something that's dimmable, and drop it down to a very low brightness, because your body senses light as it senses the sun. If the sun is out for our ancestors, we would have been up. And so our hormones literally match to sun exposure. we can have a hormonal response to light exposure. So LEDs are really bad. Fluorescent lights are really bad. Anything with blue light, blue spectrum is going to be bad. It affects your body negatively. It keeps you up. It keeps you wired. It's why if you watch a movie at night or you watch Netflix and you have trouble kind of winding down after watching that, that's blue light to thank. It's also probably what you're watching. Sometimes the actual content can just stimulate you too much, which is why I like reading at night. And reading a book will put you to sleep for sure, right? Reading a book with orange gentle glow bulbs is the miracle solution for falling asleep. So if you have trouble falling asleep, do those. It's amazing. So let's just review real quick. Orange bulbs or even candles at night. Avoid light exposure as much as possible. So keep it dim, keep it light, like let it come down. Your body will adapt to that. It will sense as if the sun was coming down and your body comes down, right? These are all trying to mimic the natural wild that we used to live in. Sound machine, game changer. Pitch black room, game changer. Obviously, if you can soundproof your room in some way so you don't hear people in the house, game changer. So that's gonna be it for the sleep section. I hope you implement some of these things and drop a comment below, like and subscribe, do all those things. It helps support me and it helps other people find this content, which I think can be useful because again, this is me just want to help people. I want people to live longer and pass along these holistic ideas based on ancestral health to their kids and their family and their friends. And through that, maybe we can reverse some of the problems that we're having today. Obesity epidemic, heart disease, cancer rate. I mean, it's bad. We need to do something, okay? So my name is Colin Stucker. I'm the WOW CEO. Again, thanks for watching.